Hello and welcome back to the Road to Good Cooking, and today I want to share with you a few of my items that I received from my Azure haul. And the first one is this case of 20 pounds of Granny Smith apples, and I was super impressed with the way that they were packed and the care that they took in getting everything packed. And then they have these cool packs all over the top and underneath, and I tell you what, they felt like when I took them out the box, they were nice and cool and chilled. Felt like they were in the refrigerator. And it took me 2 days to get my order. So I was super impressed with the way that they packed my order. And I tell you what, these apples are going to be so good in the pies that I'm going to make. And let me show you what's underneath my apples. Underneath the apples were the 10 pounds of carrots that I ordered, and they too had cold packs on them, and I worked those up the same day and pressure canned them. I ended up with 8 pints that's all I can fit in my pressure canner, and then I took the other 2 pints and put them in vacuum seal bags, and those will go in the freezer. So when I'm ready to make me a chicken pot pie or just a side dish of carrots, I will have them. And here are the 10 pounds of yellow onions that I received in my order, and look at the size of these bad boys. I tell you what, they're the size of my hand. Look at that. Okay, let me get started. So with my apples, I split them up, and I put 10 pounds in this bowl, and I have 10 pounds in the other bowl. And this batch I'm going to be making apple pie with. So I got everything set up. I'm sitting at my dining room table, and I got everything set up. This is the jar that I'm going to put my apple scraps in, and I will be making apple cider, not to cook with or use in my pressure canner, but I use the apple cider for cleaning, and I use them for cleaning Sophie's feet and soaking my feet. And this is the lemon juice that I juiced last week. I'm going to pour some in the container here, and this is where the apples are going to go. And that way I can just toss them in the lemon juice to keep them from getting brown before I get finished processing all of them. And here is the baking pan that I will be making my pies in. For me, these are single serving sizes, so that's a nice size, and that'll give me 2 servings of apple pie. Yeah, it took me a minute to get all situated. I'm sitting at the dining room table and, trying to make do with the room that I have here. Well, I tell you, when I go back and do my editing, it just cracks me up when all the unnecessary steps that I'm making here. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. Finally, let's get started. All right, my apple core peeler is in my storage somewhere, and I have no idea where it is. I'm going to be cutting off the little brown spots on my apples as I run across them. And like I was saying, my apple peeler core is in my storage, and today was one of those high anxiety days, so I thought I'm going to sit at the table. I'm going to put me some nice soft jazz on, and I'm going to just peel these peel and core and cut my apples up for my project all by hand, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to take my time because I got nothing but time on my hands today. So I hope you guys did something to keep your anxiety level down. Last week was a rough week for everybody, and me included. And I thought, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to take my mind off of everything. I'm going to turn everything off except for my smooth jazz. And I'm going to enjoy this day making my apple pies. The next few steps are going to be pretty well self-explanatory, so just sit back and relax, and I'll do like I always do and put on some nice soft music for you to enjoy. Too bad you can't listen to the jazz that I'm listening to, but I don't want to get any copyright strike, so you're going to have to listen to the YouTube music. So just sit back, enjoy yourself, and watch me work. Okay, here I'm putting together all of my spices. I'm just going to start with some freshly grated nutmeg. I'm going to put some cinnamon in there. In that little container, I already have some, what's in that one? Oh, that's my pumpkin spice, where it was, I made it with nutmeg, cinnamon, kosher salt, ginger, and cloves. And I was running low on it, so I'm just adding a little bit more to it. And I like to mix up all of my spices together, and then I pour it into whatever recipe that I'm making. And here are my apples after I doused them. I doused them about 3 times, and you can see they're all still pretty nicely colored. None of them, I got a few of them that turned brown, but that was okay. I made the mistake and tasted a slice with all that lemon juice on it. Boy, talking about puckering up. These Granny Smith apples are super, super tart, so they're going to be able to take on some nice sugar, and I have a secret ingredient that I put in there at the end, and it's just going to all come together and be super delish. And I'm going to give it a nice little toss, make sure all the apples are completely coated with the lemon juice. And here I'm adding a cup of cane sugar. I buy the 5-pound bags of cane sugar from Azure Standard, and then I put them in smaller containers so they will fit in my pantry. And there's a little bit left in the jar, probably about a tablespoon, so I might put that in there too. And you guys know how I hate to get my hands sticky, so I'm using a rubber spatula to mix my apples. And I'm going to gently fold them together. Add in the spices, and I'm using a rubber spatula so I won't break my apples up, and I'm just gently tossing them together. And they smell so good. Oh my goodness. And I can tell by the color once I get them all tossed together that I can tell that I have enough seasoning in there just by looking at the color. And I'm adding 3 tablespoons of flour, and this is all-purpose unbleached organic flour, and give that another toss. And it's coming together nicely because I had just enough lemon juice in there to, you know, give it a little help, so I wouldn't have to work up my apples and break them. I didn't want to break them into little pieces, so I'm so glad that I had enough liquid in there to bring all this together. And here's my secret ingredient. This is my molasses that was in my last Azure haul, and I'm going to put just enough in there until I hear my mom's voice in heaven say, "That's enough, baby." About that much. And when I added that molasses in there, oh my goodness, it reminded me of the pies that my mom used to make when she made apple pie. And it's so good. If you haven't tried it, give it a try. And that molasses from Azure Standard is absolutely delicious. And I got a nice color. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. Look at that. Add another tablespoon of flour just to make sure that I got enough thickener in there. Taste a piece. Oh my word. Off the charts. Off the charts. Delicious. And I'm going to cover it up until I get everything else set up. And here's how I am going to store my apple pie filling in the freezer. I'm going to line my dishes with plastic wrap, and I'm going to scoop the apples in there. That way when they freeze up, they'll freeze up in the shape of this dish. so I won't have to worry about it. Before, I was just putting them in like Ziploc bags, and then I just poured it, let it, take it out the refrigerator the day before, let it thaw out in the fridge, and then pour it into my my little pie makers here. I saw my sister friend Barbara, and she has the most beautiful homestead I've ever seen, and she was making pie, and she lined her pie pans with parchment paper, and then she put her filling in there just like I'm doing here, and then wrapped up her filling in parchment paper. I always wrap mine up in plastic wrap simply because I don't know, that's just my preference. And I'm going to pack it all down here, and see, that's the perfect size and the perfect amount of pie filling that I like in my pies. Let me put another one together for you. And just press it down in there, just like that. I should have sprayed my pans before I put the filling in there, because you'll see towards the end there, after I left them in the freezer overnight, I had a bit of an issue trying to get them out of the pan. So next time I'm going to spray my pie container and call it a day. And I'm using a slotted spoon. That way I can control how much liquid I want in there. If I just scooped it out with a regular spoon, I would probably end up with too much liquid in there, and I don't want to do that. And see, that way I can control the liquid. And that should be good. And then wrap it up and keep on going. And this pie filling is going to make 5 individual apple pies. Here they are already finished. I left them in the freezer overnight, and that way they'll be easier for me to handle and put them in vacuum seal bags so they'll store properly in the freezer. They look good, don't they? I know, you probably want one, huh? Here's the next day. And as you can see, everything is nice and frozen. And see here, this is what I was talking about. I had a hard time getting them out of there. And I think had I put some, sprayed my pans here, it would have been okay. So I had to fight with it for a minute. And it wasn't coming out. It ain't coming out. It finally came out, but I had to go get a knife. And I pried that sucker out of there. And so I had to be real careful because I didn't want to puncture the bottom of it. Not that anything is going to run out of it, but still, I don't want to have a hole in it. But see, there it is. Everything's nice and it's easy to handle. I'm going to put them into my vacuum seal bags, and then they'll store nicely in the freezer. And I'll have me individual apple pies ready to bake anytime I want it. I made the crust up yesterday too. I didn't film that because you guys have seen me make pie crust before. Hope I don't break my knife. And I love these dishes. We got these on one of our wine country trips. Oh my God, years and years and years ago. And I think I bought like 12. I think I have 12. Yeah, I got 12 of them. And I just love those little things. I really do. You can make pies in them. You can make, I use them for soup bowls, cereal. I mean, whatever. They're good, sturdy little dishes. And here's my vacuum sealer. And I like to, when I seal my bags, I always try to get to the very, very top of the bag. That way, because I reuse my bags. And if I got a great big huge 2-inch seal on the top, that's 2 inches of bag that I'm going to be cutting off when I open it up. So if I have the seal closer to the top of the bag, where I know that it's going to seal, then I only cut off just a little bit. And I can use this gallon bag over and over again until it gets small, small enough where I can't use it anymore. So I reuse my bags all the time. See the seal? See how close it is to the top of the bag? See that? You're welcome. And I decided at the last minute to take one out because I know that I'm going to want one of these before the end of the month. I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to wait till Christmas. I'm going to have me one. I love having my vacuum sealer and vacuum sealing my processed food. And I love the ideal of having food prepared, ready to go, ready to eat, ready to pop in the oven. And, I have me a gourmet meal in no time. And one thing about vacuum sealing, if you don't puncture the bags, or if the bags are not compromised, they will last in the freezer forever. And trust me on that one. I got stuff in there that I've had for at least a year. And case in point, I took something out the other day that had been in there since, January, I believe. And when I took out my pre-made meal and warmed it up, it tastes as good as the day that I made it. Simply because I preserved it properly. These are going in the freezer, and that one here is going in my freezer in the kitchen, and I will be cooking that one up tomorrow. And if you're new to my channel and you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and please hit that subscribe button if you wish. Join the family, and make sure you stop back by to see what I do with the other half of the other 10 pounds of apples. I made me some delicious applesauce, and I mean, this had to be my best batch ever. I mean, I was in heaven. It didn't last very long. Me and Sophie tore that applesauce up. I think I take that back. I gave my neighbor one, and then I kept 4. So thanks for coming by. You guys have a good week ahead, and be blessed and keep on cooking.